on to Middle East. Palestinians in Gaza City inspect today that the aftermath of an overnight Israeli strike on a tent that killed and injured several people, according to medics. Israel now controls 40% of the city as its bombardment forces more families to flee, while many residents refuse to leave the ruins. Troops push through the outer suburbs and close in just kilometers from the city center. The military says it targets tunnels and weapons to defeat Hamas, but the offensive launched August 10th draws international criticism and even stirs strategic tensions within Israel. Let's listen in to one of the displaced Palestinians whose son and grandchildren were killed in the Israeli strikes has said.
خيمة نايمين فيها لا بالهم ولا نايمين والأطفال نايمين هم وأمهم وأبوهم لسه دوب خاشش عليهم هيك يستهدفوهم. كل العيلة هيك تروح. كل العيلة تروح. ايش نقول لا اله الا الله احسن من كل حاجه. هم يقولوا منطقه امنه، هنا قاعدين في المنطقه الامنه، وين هذا الامان؟ وين الامان؟ احنا ملاقيين امان في اي منطقه؟ وين ما نروح فيها خبط؟ وين ما نروح فيها هذا؟ وين نروح؟
Now for this discussion, we're joined by Yossi Cooper-Wasser. He's an Israeli intelligence and security expert, joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you, Yossi, for always joining us. How does this Israeli public perceive the balance between military objectives and the humanitarian consequences of operations in Gaza, including the loss of IDF soldiers?
Well, we are in a war. You know, it's a long war, and we have to win this war. And winning this war means that we have to remove Hamas from power in Gaza, and for doing that, we need to take over the Gaza City area, because that's where Hamas is left. We've taken over most of the rest of the Gaza Strip, and what's left is Gaza City and some small towns in the center part of Gaza. That's what we need to do, and we are putting pressure, and we are asking the population to leave. And I heard this lady speaking about where she would go to. We have prepared safer places for the population of Gaza City to move to, south of the city, and that's where she has to go to. And we asked them very politely to move, and we are preparing everything for them to be provided by everything they need. But they have to decide to move. Hamas is trying to prevent them from moving south and evacuating the city. And this ends up with suffering for the population, unfortunately. But we have to win this war and release the hostages that are still in the hands of Hamas. They are now releasing a video clip indicating that they have 8 living hostages still in Gaza City itself. And we have to make them realize that they have to release the hostages and disarm themselves so that the people of Gaza, the civilians, will be able to have a better life. That has to happen, and the sooner the better.
Should play in addressing the immediate security threats and the long-term humanitarian impact on the civilians in Gaza?
Yeah, of course, it's not easy to live in an area where war is being waged, and that's why we are asking the civilians to evacuate the areas where the battle itself is taking place. We are now preparing the battlefield for the taking over of Gaza City. We mobilized a lot of reservists, and we are training and practicing before we move into the city itself. We've already taken some 40% of the city, of the outskirts of the city, and now we're closing on the rest of it. And we hope that Hamas will decide to give up and disarm themselves and release those just without us entering into battle inside Gaza City. That's what we hope to see happening. But Hamas instead has put up a position that says that they are not going to consider any concession and any release of hostages unless Israel is succumbing to all their demands. And that's where we stand. That's, I mean, all of that could have been solved in 1 minute if Hamas would have realized that there's no other way but to disarm. But they insist on fighting, and that's why we have to fight. It should be clear that we cannot stop this war before it's clear to everybody in the Palestinian constituency that 7th of October, the massacre of 7th of October was a mistake of Hamas, and that Hamas has paid dearly for that terror attack. And that would be clear to everybody once Hamas is disarmed and relinquishes power in Gaza and removed it and the power moves to the moderate Palestinians. That's what we are trying to accomplish.
Thank you very much, Yossi, for joining us and sharing that your insight from Israel. Now we move on.